So guess what? John Bolton, the horrible warmongering maniac from the George Bush administration that Donald Trump put in his and has wanted to start wars ever since. He pushing Trump into war with Iran, pushing Trump to be more bellicose in North Korea. And here's what Trump said about why he got rid of him. Okay, so there's some conflicting reports of why Trump got rid of him. I'll tell you my theory, but here's what Trump said. Here's what he had to actually say.
But we were set back very badly when John Bolton talked about the Libyan model, and he made a mistake. And as soon as he mentioned that, the Libyan model, what a disaster. Take a look at what happened to Gaddafi with the Libyan model. And he's using that to make a deal with North Korea. And I don't blame Kim Jong-un for what he said after that. And he wanted nothing to do with John Bolton. And that's not a question of being tough. That's a question of being not smart to say something like that. So I wish John the best. We actually got along very well. I'm sure he'll, do whatever he can do to, spin it his way. John came to see me the night before. In fact, I think a lot of you people are out there waiting for me to get on the helicopter. I'm sure you have a shot somewhere along the line. And he sat right in that chair. And I told him, John, you have too many people.
How does any of those details help the story? He sat right in that chair around. I was waiting to get on the helicopter. The guy had just turned the key on the thing, and the lights came up on the thing. Then they had just put a placemat down because I like to have a little cookies when I get on. And then what's all these? Why is he doing all these details?
I don't know, man, but I'm totally convinced they got along great.
Yeah,
it sounds like he's saying bye to a friend.
Yeah,
really. He'll be like, he'll spin it this way. He'll spin it his way.
Yeah,
right, like a good buddy would.
We got along great. What he said was not smart. And I don't blame the North Korean dictator for saying what he said after fucking Jackoff said that stuff. But I'm sure he's going to be fine. We got along. So what is he talking about? The Libya model. So what he means by the Libya model is when we talked Libya into giving up their weapons in 2002, 3, and we're like, hey, we'll do... And he gave up his weapons, and what do we do? A couple years later, we invaded his country and killed him. And turned his country, which was one of the leading countries in all of Africa, turned it into a failed state. Pretty sad. That's what he means. And so that's the... Well, here, we'll just break it down a little bit more. North Korea released a statement basically citing NSA John Bolton as the reason for hesitation in the upcoming meeting with the United States. Bolton publicly announced that the U.S. would be using the Libya model, where Gaddafi was ultimately overthrown and assassinated by rebel forces. I wouldn't say rebel forces. I would say the United States, France, and England did that. So here, I'm going to read you the part that's in. This is from the New York Times. This is from North Korea. North Korea said high-ranking officials of the White House and the Department of State, including John Bolton, White House National Security Advisor, are letting loose the assertions of so-called Libya mode of nuclear abandonment. Complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization, total decommissioning of nuclear weapons, missiles and biochemical weapons, etc., while talking about a formula of abandoning nuclear weapons first and compensating them afterwards. This is not an expression of intention to address the issue through dialogue. It is essentially a manifestation of awfully sinister move to impose on our dignified state the destiny of Libya or Iraq, which had been collapsed due to yielding the whole of their countries to big power. So that's North Korea saying, you guys want to do to us what you did to Libya? That's what you guys want to do? Yes, that's what John Bolton was saying, and that's why Trump was saying that was a dumb thing to say. And I don't blame the Kim Jong-un for saying back what he said. Also, it goes on, the world knows too well that our country is neither Libya nor Iraq, which have met miserable fate. So that's from Kim Jong-un. And here's what, as Jill Stein tweeted out so this is back in May. So this is what she tweeted out at the time. Trump cancels North Korea summit. Actually, John Bolton already torpedoed it by telling North Korea to self-destruct with the Libya model. This was perfect warmonger strategy to stop the threat of peace breaking out on the peninsula. South Korea, please stay the course. And Trump was actually, in my opinion, was close to getting Kim Jong-un to some kind of a deal. And then all of a sudden, John Bolton went and put the kibosh on it. He torpedoed it on purpose by saying that. Don't you think, Ron?
Probably. Hey, do you want the Libya model? Yeah, I'll take a pass on that. I think I'm a hard pass there.
How about the Iraq model? Do you want the Iraq model?
Oh, no. No, I don't think I want the Iraq
How about
model.
the Honduras model? Would you like the Honduras model?
What's the price on the Honduras model?
Well, what are you putting down?
I have a feeling the Democrats will support it.
I bet they will. Here is, as the Iranian expatriate journalist Bahman Kalbiasi noted, Bolton concluded his address to the exiles with a rousing promise. Oh, so this was him. He was giving to the people who were going to be the rebels in Iran, that they were going to back to have regime change in Iran, and he's given a speech to them. And here's how John Bolton concludes his speech.
And that's why before 2019, we here will celebrate in Tehran. Thank you very much.
We will celebrate in Tehran, meaning we're going to overthrow their country and take over their government. That's what he means. I love how Nancy Pelosi says John Bolton's sudden departure is a symbol of the disarray that has unnerved our allies since day one of the Trump administration. Steady leadership and strategic foreign policy is key to ensuring America's national security. You mean the steady leadership of going into Iraq, which you were for? You mean the steady leadership of not prosecuting war criminals because you are one? You mean the steady stream of leadership that led us into Libya after we did Iraq, that turned Libya into a failed state? You mean that steady stream that you guys all did again? I bet. How about the 26,000 bombs we dropped on Syria? You mean that steady stream? Or how about when you guys were all together for overthrowing Venezuela because they have more oil than Saudi Arabia? You mean that steady stream of leadership? You fucking warmongering, lying. What's wrong with the country is Nancy goddamn Pelosi. We're always going to have criminals. What you need to have is a cop. And when Nancy Pelosi is pretending she's a cop, she's a criminal. She's a war criminal because she knew about torture and did nothing about it.
But, Jimmy, did torture just start under Trump?
Oh, wait a minute. Torture started under George Bush, and Nancy Pelosi signed off for it. So I signed off on it. So is that the kind of steady leadership you're talking about? Do you see why the country is so effed? Do you see why this is the leader of the opposition party is also in bed with war, and now it's all pretend that Trump is somehow worse than George Bush, is somehow worse than what we did in Libya? Trump hasn't done that yet. You mean the kind of leadership that took us from 2 wars to 7, even though he was elected to end those wars? You mean that kind of steady leadership? This pretend that Barack Obama and everything was great before Trump. It's not going away, and it still drives me nuts. And if it drives you nuts, you're right. It should drive you nuts. Just like the whole goddamn country and mainstream news media and independent went nuts over a hoax. Russiagate, that was a hoax, 100%. A hoax. Now they're doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing, that somehow Trump's foreign policy is worse than George Bush's or Barack Obama's. Remember, Barack Obama took us from 2 wars to 7. And yes, Trump ramped up the drone. Is bombing more than Obama did. You know why? Because Barack Obama didn't end any of those wars, did he? No, he started them, expanded the surveillance state, and then handed them all over to Trump. the guy who everyone says is working for another government who's hostile to us. He's really a traitor to our own country. Let's give him $80 more billion to run our military.
Oh, he's the commander-in-chief.
Yeah. Hey, this guy is working for a foreign enemy. He's a traitor to our country, Donald Trump. That's why I say we give him $80 billion more and we don't impeach him. So there you go. So now you know why. So Donald Trump gave that as a reason why he fired John Bolton, was because of something he did in May. But what everyone else is saying the real reason was that Donald Trump invited the Taliban to Camp David to have a conversation, which is what we should be doing. Which is what we should be doing. We've been in Afghanistan for 18 years. The Taliban did not attack us. The Taliban did not attack us. A bunch of Saudi Arabians financed by Saudi Arabia attacked us.
And if you're not sure about that, ask Tim Ryan. He'll clear it up for you.
And so we should be meeting with them. And John Bolton, of course, is a maniac. I'll still never know exactly why Trump put him in his cabinet, even though Trump promised to drain the swamp. And then, of course, he drained the swamp. And what was at the bottom of that swamp? His whole cabinet. His whole cabinet. Guys like Elliot Abrams and John Bolton.
Yeah, a symbol of the disarray in our politics
Right.
isn't the fact that John Bolton's gone. A symbol of our disarray is the fact that he was there in the first
That's right.
place.
That's right, Ron.
After draining the swamp?
Yes, after draining the swamp. So again, and Trump. It seems like, how crazy is it that Trump is the guy who wants to have a meeting with the Taliban? That Trump is the guy who gets North Korea into a position of negotiation, and it's again an old neocon who fucks it up.
Yeah.
He's the uncontrollable factor in all of this is Donald Trump.
That's right.
And he doesn't make enemies. I mean, he makes enemies all the time. And I was just watching other people's take on this whole thing. And a lot of them are just making this up like, oh, they broke up, Trump and Bolton. And I'm like, it couldn't be a better 9/11 gift to America than to kick John Bolton to the curb.
Oh, wow. What a great 9/11 present. I didn't even think about that. It's happened. Oh, it happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 9/10. But it was like a gift. Here's your Christmas Eve. Here's your 9/11 Eve present. So, by the way, this will win a lot of people back on the right who were supportive of Trump because he's anti-war or because of his anti-intervention rhetoric that he ran on. And this will, the people will, and then he didn't, but then he fills his cabinet with generals, and then he goes to guys like John Bolton and Elliot Abrams. He does the exact opposite of what he planned. But now it seems like he's trying to go back to, who knows?
Well, yeah, I mean, you wonder who the replacement's going to be.
Right. I mean, so Trump was saber rattling with Iran. He definitely wanted to do something in Venezuela. But the Democrats were for him. I mean, the Democrats, again, they're behind Trump on this stuff. They want him to bomb Syria more. Do you realize that? Democrats want him to bomb more. The guy who they say is a traitor to our country. They want him to overthrow other governments in South America that have more oil than Saudi Arabia. Donald Trump, a guy who's supposed to be a traitor to our country. That's how you know Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats are a failed party and they're full of shit. A, they can't even oppose Trump effectively. B, you know why? Because they don't want to. And they love having him there because he helps raise funds. And he's the perfect foible because they never have to change or get any better or do anything to serve the people. But they can always go, but Trump, and you're a bad person if you don't vote for me. Well, I'm not voting for Democrats unless it's somebody I believe in. How about our panel?
That is also my plan.
Okay.
Yeah, I concur with that. But it goes back to really, you can't beat Donald Trump.
Honest. No, they can't. They lost him already. And if they nominate Joe Biden, they will lose again. And if they nominate Elizabeth Warren, it will be a nail biter because Trump will wipe the floor with her in a debate.
Agreed.
He got her to take a goddamn a DNA test for F's sake.
Yeah, I don't see her beating him. I mean, Joe Biden I think would lose by the most, but
Well, we certainly know that Bernie could challenge him. We already know that. And we certainly know that Tulsi Gabbard could challenge him. And we won't be hearing from Tulsi Gabbard on the next debate.
Not next
How
debate,
convenient for the Democrats, because they so desperately want to run a candidate that can beat Trump, except they don't.
So do you think this is going to beat Trump on a debate stage?
I am not a person of color. I am not a citizen of a tribe. I am not a person of color. I am not a citizen of a tribe.
So that's the person we're going to put up against Donald Trump because he's a big liar. And Joe Biden, who can't stop lying. Every day he lies about something else. He lies about the war. He lies about his role in thing. He lies about whether he was for the Iraq war or when he was against it. He lies about when he gave somebody a medal. He lies about who wrote the speech he's giving. He lies about marching in the civil rights movement. He lied about it. His campaign tells him that's not true. He keeps lying about it. People forget he had to drop out before because he got caught plagiarizing so much. These other guys are going to put up against Trump. Why don't you just put up somebody with a comb over against Trump? But just not as
Don't
shitty.
give them ideas.
Right? No kidding. No kidding. Hey everybody, we're doing a live show every Sunday in October in Hollywood, California at the Sycamore Tavern. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for tickets and become a patron. We give you hours of bonus material every month. Become a premium member. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com and sign up. Thanks for your support.